All right, folks, we got breaking news, huge news out of the industry. I think actually this is going to make a lot of sense to the YouTube members and the patrons because they already caught wind of this. I'm going to explain how this circles back to that news that I actually broke about a week ago, but there is a proposal that has been officially filed with the FCC that was proposed and filed by T-Mobile to do spectrum swaps with their competitors, AT&T and Verizon. Now, in and of itself, that is not a shock. That's not unusual. This is very normal. In the industry, carriers exchange licenses all the time. But this one is a little bit different. And the reason why this one is different is because T-Mobile, I think, is going to be giving up spectrum as a net loss in some of these transactions with AT&T and Verizon. I feel very strongly that AT&T is probably the winner on those net gain transactions. There's going to be a lot of transactions that are even, where the spectrum swaps are equal in terms of the amount of bandwidth. But in regards to the actual frequencies, it's going to involve band 2, PCS, band 66, AWS. And then there's also some upper mid-band, if you want to call it that. The 2.5 gigahertz, the N41, 5G UC for T-Mobile. And then there's also some 600 megahertz, some low band, and some 700 megahertz low band involved as well. So the Verizon transaction, I did a little homework on it. I looked at the spectrum map and where these companies hold licenses. Verizon is going to be focused on Kentucky. There's some transactions there for T-Mobile and Verizon, and that's in the 600, the PCS, the AWS, and then the 2500. For AT&T, it's got much more substantial reach across many states, but the filings are official with the FCC. They've been submitted. It's an 18-page document, so that's in there. There were concerns about the spectrum screen, and I think actually T-Mobile is breaking the spectrum screen rules here. So that may mean that the FCC might have to provide some kind of an updated, amended version of the spectrum screen. Neither AT&T nor Verizon is breaking the spectrum screen on any level in this transaction. It's only T-Mobile. So I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the evolution, deregulation, or modification of the current statute for the spectrum screen. But this is going to be a benefit to all companies. Like, this is going to benefit T-Mobile, obviously. They're going to deepen the bandwidth for their existing channels. You know, it's going to improve their spectral efficiency. They've got huge fragmentation in a lot of different places with N41 and other frequencies. So this is going to make their network have more spectral efficiency. They'll get more juice out of it by deepening the bandwidth. And I think this is going to help AT&T and Verizon as well. For the AT&T transaction, it's specifically going to be for the 700, the PCS 1900, the AWS 1 and 3, the band 66. In some instances, I think AT&T is going to be getting more spectrum than what they're trading. So it's not really just about that. They're going to have a net gain. But in some of the transactions, it is going to be equal swaps. But I want to kind of comment to something, and this is like for the Verizon one, for example, just so you guys have understanding. Verizon has 600 megahertz licenses in Kentucky and parts of Tennessee. And I think it's like a couple of dozen counties. That's the most substantial thing in terms of a transaction between Verizon and T-Mobile. They also have some 2500, the N41, outside of Louisville and London. I looked at those couple of locations. It's 45 megahertz of bandwidth in those two locations. And then for the 600 in those like couple dozen counties, it's 10 megahertz of bandwidth. So these are substantial transactions that are going to make the T-Mobile network much better and likely take them over the spectrum screen rules, right? So the question now is, why is this happening at all? Why is this happening now? Well, first of all, for T-Mobile, this doesn't cost them anything, right? The only thing it costs them is possibly losing bandwidth in terms of having uneven transactions, but like they're going to increase capacity on their tower sites without even doing a tower climb, without doing any type of installations, no truck rolls, no fiber modifications, software update, boom, I've got more capacity on my existing channels, right? And then, you know, for Verizon and AT&T, it's kind of the same, right? They're going to obviously get some, they're trading spectrum that's going to make them more efficient, right? And squeeze more out of their existing channels. But I'm going to circle back to what I told the members and the patrons last week, and now everybody here publicly on YouTube can know. Folks, there are growing concerns that there aren't going to be any spectrum auctions in the near-term future. This, to me, signals that that is 100% the case. So what we've been waiting for is a spectrum pipeline. What we've been waiting for is more auctions for more bandwidth, and I just simply don't see it happening. And people within the industry have indicated that they had concerns about it. And now with this transaction, I think it is abundantly clear there is not going to be, within the next couple of years, any new spectrum that's going to come to auction and be publicly auctioned to the carriers. This is completely a signal of that. I mean, think about it. If there weren't any concerns, why would they be in a rush to do this? I mean, this is going to require some deregulation if you think about the spectrum screen. And this is going to require the FCC to, authorize this with spectrum authority, right? And, that Verizon went big on C-band, and AT&T, wants more bandwidth. They have the fight for their life with 4.9 gigahertz for the public safety sector. T-Mobile clearly sees the writing on the wall. They're trying to make these moves happen now. Folks, this is a sign. There's no new spectrum coming anytime soon. We're literally talking maybe the end of the decade before we get some spectrum wrestled away from the DoD, and we have the rest of the C-band that's in guard currently. It's like over 200 megahertz. When is that going to come to market and be auctioned? This is a clear indication to me, and I think the folks within the industry, this is part of all this. This is how this is manifesting itself. So now that this is out in the public and everybody knows, we can kind of understand the position that T-Mobile is taking. This benefits them in every which way, and as well as the other carriers involved. This is bigger than we know. This is a clear indication that the cupboard is bone dry. There's no spectrum in the pipeline in the near-term future. These guys are going to have to be squeezing the life out of the spectrum that they have. Clear indication of it. What do you guys think about all this? Like, share, subscribe, drop me some comments. Check out some more of our videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.